Welcome back to the Pro Football Pod. We are here with the betting episode, with all the betting information for Week 8, the
Make
previews.
some money.
That's what we're all about here on the Pro Football
Bet
Pod,
responsibly.
is making you some extra money. First one we get to talk about is an easy one. It's Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is rough to bet on, man. It's so hard. Betting the under in general is a better call. We talked about on uh, the the fantasy preview episode how Josh Allen and the Bills could end up putting up 37, but the reality is for them to put up 10 or 15 is also really really high on a short week with all of these problems. Tampa Bay's defense is very solid, and
And I mean, at this point, how much are the Bills just trying to get through this game so they can get 10 days off?
absolutely. Uh,
So looking at the spread, Bucks plus 8.5 over under 42.5. I like the Bucks plus 8.5 and the under on that.
Absolutely. Um, I think that that's enough said about that one. Moving on
I
to
think
Philly.
Bucks
Yeah,
plus 330 on the money line is a little
that's too
bold.
much. That's too much. I don't think the Bucks win this game.
But
Not in
honestly, dude,
Buffalo.
with the way the Bills
In
have looked
Buffalo.
and with how much of a gamer Baker is. Baker don't give a damn about Buffalo. He don't give a damn about going
It's
into
gonna be
Buffalo.
loud,
None of
dude.
that.
It's gonna
It's
be
gonna
harsh.
I'm not saying it's gonna be tough, but with the way the Bills have looked, all this talk about how the Dolphins and the 49ers and the Lions are on fraud alert, we need to start talking about the Bills being on fraud alert. And that's just not even me being an interdivision hater. That's just me saying they've been struggling here lately. And like I said, I think they're just trying to creep through this game. I love the under 42.5.
I
Love it.
love that, and I love the 8.5. Like we said, the 330. I don't think the Bucks have. I don't think they have it to be able to win this game. Not in Buffalo. Not on a prime time. Buffalo, and with especially because of how bad they looked last week, and Josh Allen just is pouting right now still because of that loss. I think that he just hates that he has to do it all himself, and that's what his team is built around. Is that if he does it, then they win. Very similar situation is Philadelphia going to Washington. Philly's favored minus 6.5 with a 43.5 over. I think that this is going to be a really big defensive game. I think that Washington plays Philly really hard, and that it was 31-34 for the last one. Um, I don't know if we can. I don't know if we're going to see that again. I think that those second half adjustments that they made. Now we're later in the season. We got to see more of what Sam Howell looks like. Jalen Hurts is potentially a little bit banged up.
The Eagles are going to tush push 12 times.
Yep, we know that.
And
And
and I'm just going to throw it out there cuz I don't want to be the typical guy that, oh, the tush push, get it out of the that it's in the rules. So they are allowed to do it. Nick Sirianni, as punchable as his face is, made a great point. If every team could do it, they would. Teams have tried. They are not as effective at it. Now, I think what's going to come down to it getting outlawed and thrown out this offseason, because it is going to happen. I do not doubt that.
100% fact.
Is if you go back and watch some replays of not even the Dolphins game, but just all the tush pushes, there's so many of them where Jalen Hurts is literally being picked up by his quarterback jacket under his pads, and his feet aren't even on the ground.
Nope.
And that is illegal because you cannot pick up and advance a runner.
Yeah.
So regardless, all that being said, got that out of my system. I do like the Eagles minus 6.5. I think they're kind of pissed that Washington was able to take them to overtime. And like you said, with the way they are kind of starting to turn it into gear more with that defense, the over I'd lean over on the 43.5 just because of the offensive output that came out of that last game. And it is an interdivision game. So these games always play differently than normal games. But my favorite bet of, what we're looking at here just on the top, is minus 6.5. We'll dive into player props more on our Friday live show once, lines get dropped for those and everything like that. So we're just looking off the top here, but I like the minus 6.5 in this game as like, my favorite bet of the two.
Yeah, I don't think that the minus 295 money line for Philly isn't really worth it. It
Not unless you pair it up with like the minus 290 for like the Cowboys and try to get even odds on a parlay, but the Cowboys game, we'll get into that. That one kind of scares me.
a
So
little bit, yeah.
yeah, so with the Eagles, I like the minus 6.5 going into, the Commanders home there, taking that victory and just keep rolling.
Next matchup we got Jacksonville at Pittsburgh minus 2.5 for Jacksonville with a 41.5 over. I think Pittsburgh's been playing teams tough this year, and that's part of why we're seeing this be such a close matchup. I don't know if I believe it though. I think Jacksonville covers the minus 2.5 pretty easily. Their offense is gonna eat against Pittsburgh's receiving cornerbacks and
Yeah, I mean,
secondary.
I always 2.5 spreads don't really bother me. I mean, the way teams go for two now more in the league, it can tend to screw you a little more, but for the way I see it, I'm getting Jacksonville on the money line at minus 115 because I think they can absolutely win this game by more than 3 points. Yes, you're going into Pittsburgh. Yes, you've got to deal with TJ Watt, but they don't have anybody on the back end.
No.
Like they don't have any corners that scare you as far as stopping your guys. If you go back and listen
They
to
got
our
Porter.
preview
And
episode with
Porter's been
Ridley
decent.
and Kirk, and Porter's good, but I mean, how much is the rookie really giving you this year so
And
far?
he's not stopping Ridley and Kirk. He's not stopping
Exactly.
either or.
I see this being a big game for Christian Kirk because of how much pressure TJ Watt is going to get on Trevor Lawrence. He's going to have to get that ball out quick.
Yep.
Also think it's going to be a big game for Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram as an anytime touchdown is probably a good little sprinkle play for you, but game wise, yeah, I think minus 2.5 is pretty easy to go. The over 41.5, that honestly scares me either way. Because I could see that over getting broken, and I could easily see it ending 17-10.
I want to say over. That's my gut. My gut says over because Pittsburgh's got Deontay Johnson back. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren looked like real running
George
backs
Pickens
last
can
week.
score a 60-yarder anytime.
Exactly.
Like I got you. Yep. So
Uh,
yeah, I do that. But favorite bet on that one minus 2.5 for the Jaguars.
Absolutely. I think that's easy sauce. New Orleans Saints at Indy. Indy's got minus 1.5 with a 43.5 over. Honestly, man, taking a money line on one of these teams, it's minus 102 for
Basically a
New
pick 'em.
Orleans. Yeah, and minus 116 for Indy. I think Indy is, because it's at Indy, is the only reason that they're getting so much. I think New Orleans is probably the better team, and Derek Carr in the second half of last week against Jacksonville, like, was able to do all these things. If Olave isn't playing, I think that you take Indianapolis easily. Um,
With the way they showed up and played versus that Cleveland defense last week, and I think I got to lean Colts in this game at home as well. I mean, Cleveland has a better defense than the Saints have, and the for all intents and purposes, I mean, Minshew's going to Minshew, and he'll probably throw a couple interceptions, but he's also going to make some wild plays. Josh Downs has been looking good. Jonathan Taylor is, I believe, fully back in the mix now, and they're still using Zach Moss as well. So I'd lean Colts in this game as well. I like the Colts on the money line, and I think this game I'd for sure want to lean the under 43.5.
yeah, I
The
like that.
Saints, that's the one thing I will say with the Saints defense is the Saints, a lot of their games have been coming in at the under simply because their defense does play tough.
So moving on, Houston at Carolina. This is going to be a good prop game. We're going to talk about that more on Friday, but
Hmm.
we expect Houston Texans to do really well. uh, way over what their expectations are. So I think the Houston's -3 with a 43 point over. I think that going for some of the Carolina players is going to be something as well. Like this is going to be a decent prop game.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive into the props on this game because yeah, you're gonna have players everywhere that you can do up a very solid parlay, like very solid alternate yardage parlay, get you some good even money odds type of thing, and really you're not asking for much. I'm talking, you're looking at Thielen 40 yards, you're looking at Nico Collins 40 yards, and give me Dalton Schultz 25 yards. That's probably, you're looking at a solid little parlay there. So looking at the game, I love the Texans -3. I don't care that the Panthers are at home. The Panthers have looked like absolute trash this year.
Yep.
I I like the under 43 as well. I don't think these teams scream points getting scored on the board. Now, both defenses are susceptible to letting up points, so it easily could finish out to being a 28-27 type of game. But
This
-3 on the Texans is screaming at me right now.
this almost feels like a divisional matchup because both of these divisions are like at the same level.
AFC South, NFC South, they're both kind of looked at the same. Both rookie quarterbacks, 1 and 2, both kind of rebuilding. So, yeah, I get you there. There's a lot of those like underlying things. Frank Reich, first year in Carolina. D'Amico,
Yep.
first year as a head coach, first year in
Exactly.
Houston. So yeah, there is a lot here. This is definitely a game to where, it's one of those you you're not going to watch it because great football's not going to necessarily be played, but it has a lot of feel good type of stuff to it.
And it's going to be really fantasy relevant. We talked about this game a lot on the fantasy preview episodes. Now, do you have a favorite bet? You
Uh,
said Houston -3
Houston -3 is
and the under.
screaming at me.
Yeah. Rams are getting 6.5 points because they have to go to Dallas with a 45 point over under. We talked about this one too, man. The Rams are going to have a tough time. Puka
Give
and
me the
Cooper.
Rams plus 6.5.
You think you really?
I
Let's
think
hear.
this now this is a 1 o'clock game. If this was prime time, I would feel very much more highly in that conviction
Okay.
because of the Matt Stafford, just the stars coming out at night type of thing. But I don't know, man. The Cowboys just really haven't impressed me. The defense has shown that if you can negate Micah Parsons, you can score points on them, and it's not that hard. I mean, so for me, it is a matter of it's just going to be a scheming up your offense correctly. And if I'm going to trust somebody to scheme up the offense, it'll be Sean McVay.
My issue with the Rams is the fact that Kyron is hurt. Daryl Henderson and Royce Freeman are old running backs. They don't have this pop potential where they're going to be able to, because you're not going to be able to methodically just work the ball down the field on Dallas. It's going to take a couple of big plays. And if you can't get those plays in the running game and you're required to drop back, you're playing right into Miles Garrett.
Well,
Or I'm
see,
sorry.
I also wouldn't be shocked if this is one of those games where McVay comes out with the game plan of, all right, boys, we're throwing the ball 50 times this game.
That's the way that I think that they win this game. And McVay, I mean, he'll do it. He's a good, smart offensive
All of
coach.
your best playmakers are in your passing game
Yeah.
with Tyler Higbee, with Puka, with Cup, with Tutu. Like all of your best players are in your passing game, and I think that's where you've got to lean, especially to this defense. And like I said, the two ways to negate Michael Parsons: you either run the ball right at him, or you throw the ball too quick where he can't get there. And Matt Stafford's got a quick release, so I love the Rams plus 6.5. If you're giving me almost a touchdown, I'm
And
gonna take that.
Dak's not really running the score up on many teams. They did it on
Exactly.
the Giants, but like their offense isn't so elite. So I
They're
feel that.
allowing too many teams to keep it close,
Yeah.
especially if you're a solid team. And the Rams have been playing very solid this year.
Not last year. Last year they did not look like a good football team, but this year they don't look like last year. They look like they're ready to play some football. Matt Stafford's fully healthy, so yeah, you've turned me. I guess I'm on the the Ram bandwagon
Good
as
thing
well.
Austin isn't on this episode.
Shout out Austin. Your boys will probably be fine. Atlanta Falcons minus 2.5 with a 36.5 under. This is the lowest one of the day. There's one other that's tied with it, and we'll talk about that next. Yeah, two bad offenses. No quarterback is going to be playing in this game. Desmond Ritter doesn't count. So yeah, I mean, what do we
It's
expect?
Ritter
Really,
season.
it's Ritter season. I think that Atlanta minus 2.5 is probably safe. Derrick Henry's gonna try to keep this game close, but Atlanta's defense has been very solid. And if all that they have to do is stop Derrick Henry, I think that they're going to be able to do that.
That and Malik Willis hasn't shown you anything to this point that he's going to be able to drive that offense, and you haven't seen Will Levis yet. So
Nope.
yeah, for I like Atlanta minus 2.5, even with it being on the road. Now Vrabel's boys are going to play tough, so I
It's
know it
not
is.
on the road. Oh, sorry. You're saying
Yeah,
Atlanta's on the road. I got you.
yeah. Now I know it's low, but I think I lean the minus 36 point under 36.5. Like I think that's where I'd rather go as far as my bet. I don't really want to pick a winner in this game because I just don't like either offense.
Yeah.
But that tells me just in my betting mind, defensive matchup, low scoring, give me the under 36.5.
Okay. New York versus New York. I'm sorry. I spoke incorrectly. New Jersey versus New Jersey.
There you go. East
Minus
Rutherford.
East Rutherford. -3 for the Jets. 36.5 over under. I think it's going to be the battle of the running backs, right? Neither team really. It's the same situation. No one really has a quarterback. Tyrod Taylor has shown serviceable, but he also makes massive, huge mistakes because he's not a real starting quarterback. And then Zach Wilson has had a couple good games, but this is a defense that's starting to turn it around a little bit. They're not, the same defense they were the first 3 weeks. So I think the over under. What are you thinking? Under?
Yeah, this is another one I lean the under because I just think the Jets defense is too good versus the Giants, and
Yep.
outside of Brees and Garrett Wilson, I just don't see the Jets putting up many points in this game.
The Thibodeau's been turning it on a little bit. Like their pieces
This
have
is one
been
you could
coming up.
easily see finishing 17-13.
Yeah.
And I lean the Jets in this game. I like the Jets -3. Yes, Tyrod won a game for the Giants, first black quarterback in their history to win a game,
Oh, nice.
which is just absolutely insane, really, if you think about it. But the Giants have shown me nothing. And I know we're talking about the Jets versus the Giants, so we're picking just two teams that, towards the bottom right now. But the Jets have shown me a lot more. They're keeping
Their
games
defense
very
is
close
so
with good
good.
teams. And they're, I don't know, man. Like I said, even if Daniel Jones was in this game, I still think I would lean the Jets.
Yeah, their defense is so good. Nobody is doing good against them. Top quarterbacks in the league right now not doing against the Jets. I don't look forward to the Dolphins having to play that defense at all. Like, not at all. And we have to do it twice still. Talking of which, New England is going to Miami. They're giving Miami 9.5 points with a 47 over under.
I gotta lean New England on that spread. Like I think the Dolphins win the game. New England has been playing
They
tougher, and Mac
We didn't
Jones
beat
has
them by
been
more than
playing.
10 the first time we played, correct?
We no, we beat them by 7.
Yeah.
And that game was much closer than what those 7 points showed.
Now this is
So
in Miami, and that's a big
in
difference.
Miami, it's 1 o'clock, so that heat's going to be blaring down. Patriots are going to be in their dark navy blue uniforms, so they're going to be getting overheated there. And statistically, the Dolphins at home typically do kind of wipe teams out. So, I mean, the -0.5 is kind of warranted, but interdivision game, just as tough as as tough as Bill and the Patriots play the Dolphins, I don't like that -9.5 for Miami. I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to bet that as a Dolphins fan on my side, so I would lean the Patriots plus 9.5. And I honestly, I think I would lean the under 47 as well. I know the Dolphins at home put up crazy amount of points and they can score at the drop of a hat, but I don't see the Patriots game plan changing any from week 3 or week 2, I'm sorry, to where they're going to keep too high the entire time. You're not going to beat them over the top.
Judon is going to have an opportunity to create
Judon's
some.
is he playing is Judon playing or did he hit IR?
Is he out for the season? I
I
know that
want to
he
say he
he'd
at
missed a
least
game or
hit
two.
IR.
Oh man, I think that the fact that the Dolphins,
And Christian Gonzalez is out.
which is why
And
their defense
both
has
of
been
those
doing so
two
bad so
were
lately.
very effective in that first game. So that could be indicative of that 9.5 as well.
Yeah,
As a Dolphins fan, I'd love nothing more than to beat the Patriots by 23 points. But interdivision game versus Bill Belichick still terrifies me.
it seems like Tua doesn't need a left guard or a left tackle, and he'll be able to just get the ball out fast enough before the guy can get there. But he does. And right now, the people that are doing that job are not very good at it. The center is not very good at it. So I think that the Patriots are going to be able to keep this game close enough. I don't. I don't know about the 47 over under. I think that the Dolphins secondary is really really hurt right now. X was at least there whenever, so we were able to shut down Kendrick Bourne last time, but Kendrick Bourne's been stepping up more and more. So I disagree with you. I think that the over is more where I would lean. I don't know if I would touch the 9.5 for the Patriots though. I don't. They're just too inconsistent of a team for me to like
I don't like
want.
that spread on either side. But
Yeah,
if I had to
exactly.
lean one, I'd go the Patriots. Now, the Patriots plus 9.5, that's a great teaser pick. If you're trying to make a little 3, 4, 5 team teaser, add some
Yeah,
points there to that spread.
that's a good call.
I do like them as a pick there, but either way, I don't like that spread. And yeah, if I I think I do agree with you there. I think you did switch me up. I do like the over 47 because the Dolphins at home and their defense has shown they can be scored on.
Yep. Minnesota minus 1.5 at Green Bay with a 42.5. I think that the only reason they're favored right now is because of the high that they're on after beating San Fran. This is a 1 o'clock game, the last one on the slate. Um, I think Minnesota's definitely has the better football team right now because they have the better quarterback. Like even with JJ being out, Christian Watson's going to miss this game as well. Aaron Jones is someone we talked about potentially not even playing.
And their defense is starting to look better.
We talked about the first couple weeks how their defense, just like the Chargers defense, on paper is supposed to be a top 5, top 10 defense. Like that's what they were supposed to be.
And you got to figure Brian Flores needed time to get guys into his system. We're seeing the same thing down in Miami with Vic Fangio. Like
Yep.
it does take some time there. And like we've said, the Vikings, their top 5 defense versus running backs this year, they're susceptible in the pass game, but to me, that turns you into being one dimensional. And I don't think the Packers are good enough to be one dimensional.
Jordan
So
Love's not good enough.
I absolutely lean the Vikings in this game. It's basically a pick 'em, so you get Vikings on the money line at minus 110. Go ahead and give me that. And then the over 42.5, I like the over in that as well because I think the Vikings are going to put up points and I think the Packers, I could see the
In
Packers
garbage
being
time.
able to put up 17 at least.
They're going to put up a couple of drives at the end like they did this last
Yep.
weekend. That has everything to do with the head coach. Like that has everything to do with their offensive system being able to produce. It's just not able to produce enough to compete in the NFL at a high level. Cleveland +3 at Seattle with a 39.5 over under. Another low over under because of it being Cleveland. It's crazy because last week Cleveland almost put that up themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
I think
that over under actually scares me. Like if we're just being completely honest. Now, this is one of those I don't want to pick a winner in this game. I don't want to pick the over under in this game. I would lean the under and I would lean Seattle -3 at home. Like yes, Cleveland's defense is the way they've been playing has been outstanding, but it also kind of hinges on am I getting PJ Walker or am I getting Deshaun Watson? And if I'm getting Deshaun Watson after nursing an injury, I still don't know how effective that is right now. And it's not like Deshaun was looking amazing before he got hurt anyway.
exactly the way he's throwing the ball up and like he's hitting his guy. His guy's making it to the ball, but so are all the defenders because there's no zip on it. There's no like getting it there in time. I think that the Browns are going to keep it close, but it's not. It's going to have a lot to do with what the receiving core for Seattle can do, right? Denzel Ward has been so good this year on for the Browns in coverage, and if between Jackson Smith, Tyler Lockett, and DK Metcalf, they can get their whole receiving core out there and producing. I mean, that's a very scary trio. I think that Seattle could do really well against a lot of teams. I just don't think that this is that week. And DK's coming off of the oblique injury, so I want nothing to do with this.
Agreed. This is a game I probably won't touch prop wise. I probably won't touch anyway. The only prop I might would touch is I would look at Kenneth Walker's rushing yards projection and maybe lean the under on that if I feel like it's a little too high. But yeah, this is a game I'm just completely bypassing.
Now this next game, Cincinnati at San Fran. San Fran -5.5, which is actually funny to me. I think,
How this did not get flexed into Sunday Night Football is completely beyond me.
yeah,
You're giving us the Bears at the Chargers instead of San Fran and the Bengals. What are we doing here?
and San Fran. It looks like this is going to be a close game. Like before the last 2 weeks happened, I would have said the Bengals have no chance. San Fran is just the better football team. We said before they lost, we don't know who they're going to lose to. And Brock Purdy's shown that he's a human being that isn't an elite quarterback, and he's not able to win the game himself. Christian McCaffrey looked ineffective in the second half of that game. He got that one long touchdown on a reception, but that was all that he really did.
hmm Now, saying that, I do not think the 49ers come out and lose three in a row.
But I don't know if they cover 5.5 against the Bengals, dude. Like, I'm
I
really liking Bengals plus 5.5.
see I do, but just the mental, like human side to me on that wants to lean the Niners -5.5. Because even though the Bengals are coming off a bye, they've had that extra week to prepare for them. The Niners are kind of
They're
struggling
fully
right now.
healthy. T.
To
Higgins is
me,
back. Joe Mixon's
to
looking
me
decent.
though, this is that game after that loss in Minnesota. You're getting your team together, and that's a wake up call. We've dropped two in a row now. We it's same thing that's being said against the Dolphins. We haven't really beat any teams that are technically good teams.
Yeah.
We've smashed all these teams that are lower level teams. This is a good barometer for them on where they're at as a team and how far they can really go this season. So for me, I think that -5.5, I like that because it's not 7.5. So I would lean that because I could see the 49ers coming out and winning this game by 10, absolutely causing havoc for Joe Burrow there. And we've seen teams that they'll come off a bye and still lay an egg. Hell, the Giants had an entire offseason to prepare for the Dallas Cowboys and lost 40-0.
Yeah.
So preparation to me really at this point means nothing.
I think that if Christian McCaffrey doesn't get 150 all-purpose yards with 2 touchdowns, that
And I think
San
he should.
San
I
Fran
think this
isn't
is a
going to be
game he
able to
gets
keep it
back
that
to.
close. I that's what everyone's hoping for, right? Because he's proving to be the most valuable player on their team. If San Fran goes back to winning all of their games again, and Christian McCaffrey scores a touchdown every single week this year, he might win MVP. Like straight up, like he's the most valuable player on the San Francisco 49ers right now. They lost the last 2 weeks because he didn't totally take
Bro,
the
he's
game
on
over.
pace to finish the year with like 25 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
it's insane. And as far as like favorite bet, I think I'd lean the over 45.5 versus picking a side on the spread.
All right, we've hammered this one a lot. Let's move on. Baltimore's minus 8.5 versus Arizona with a 44 point over. Baltimore, it's not in Baltimore, so we're gonna see a different Lamar Jackson than we got to see last week.
East Coast to West Coast.
Yep. Lamar has been playing out of his freaking mind at quarterback, and Arizona's defense is solid, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stop him and Andrews and Zay Flowers from doing whatever they want. So I like, honestly, I like the 8.5. I think that it's a solid call for this week.
Yeah, I like the minus 8.5. Yes, it's East Coast to West Coast, but it's a 4:30 start time. So body clock wise, it's no different than a 1 o'clock game for the Ravens. So that
Yep.
does nothing for them. And yeah, this game they could absolutely smash them by 13 points easily, just because of how effective the offense has looked the last few weeks and how inept the Cardinals have looked.
And I mean, they played Detroit. Detroit was a 5-1 team that we were talking about potentially them taking their division easily and also contending for the conference.
Hmm.
For them to embarrass them like that, Baltimore is a scary team that nobody wants to play right now because of what we said earlier. You have to account for Lamar. It's just it makes things so much harder. Kansas City's minus 7.5 at Denver. The fact that this isn't more is blowing my mind. It's a 46.5 over under. I know it's a divisional game. It's at Denver, but it's Kansas City. Kansas City's the best offense and best defense in football right now. Like the best offense is obviously the Dolphins, but giving Patrick Mahomes like the defense that he has right now, they're easily the best team and so hard to see how teams are supposed to keep up with them. Their defense is super young and shutting everyone down. Denver does not look like they're good in any category at football right now.
No. And like you said, the Chiefs defense has been playing very solid. Denver's offense has shown me nothing that says that they can put up 30 points on this team. Now, the Chiefs offense has shown a little bit of struggle bus, so I would rather see this spread at minus 6.5. Vegas knows what they're doing here. So that one does sketch me out just slightly, but Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey, if it's a division game, they typically pop off and get their business handled. So the spread does scare me.
Rashi Rice is part
The
of
over 46.5 kind of scares me. I really think I lean the under on that.
Rashi Rice and Isaiah Pacheco are both doing this
Yep.
in my view from like a
Oh,
fantasy
Rasheed
perspective.
Rice just got pulled off the taxi squad in my dynasty.
There you go.
I feel really good about my taxi squad because I've already pulled 3 guys off of there
Nice.
and they're worked
Nice.
into my bench now. I haven't thrown them in the starting lineup, but yeah,
You don't
Rasheed,
have
I
to.
think
That's
he's
not the
projected he's projected like 11 points this week, and like you said, they're both right here. Like
Yep.
that's what they're doing, and we're gonna continue to see that every week. And Rasheed, has the benefit of not being the bona fide number one there, so it's not like Surtain's going to try to travel with him the whole
He's
game.
going to be on Kelsey the whole time. That's why I like Rasheed as a potential flex play this week for that conversation. Um, let's move on. We only have 2 more games to cover, or no, yeah, just one more. No, sorry, the Sunday Night Football, Chicago
Monday. Yep.
Chicago at Los Angeles. It's minus 8.5 to the Chargers. The Chargers have looked like shit, but Chicago is playing in the lights with Badgett. Like, that's why they didn't flex this, by the way, is because they're going to get to have the storyline of the
They're
rookie
gonna
that
get,
won last week. And
or not even that. I think they didn't flex this because this will be the game, or should be the game, that after Sunday night and all of Monday morning, they'll get to talk about Justin Herbert throwing for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and
Yep.
absolutely demolishing the Bears. And are the Chargers back? Is this what turned the ship around? Yada, yada, all that. But like I said, this should be the game that they do that because you're playing the Bears and Tyler Badgett. So the minus 8.5, hammer that because the Chargers should win this game by 10, but that means they're going to win this game by 2.
Yep. They're such a frustrating team to bet around. I think that player prop wise, Keenan Allen is going to be big. Eckler should turn it around. He has been really bad this season. So if his lines are a lot lower than they are on average for him, then I would hammer some of those. But we'll talk about that more on Friday. Final matchup: Las Vegas going to Detroit. Detroit's got 8.5. 45.5 over under. Jared Goff's playing at home, so he's going to be amazing. Mon-Ra St. Brown is going to be amazing. I think that Las Vegas Raiders, with Garoppolo or without, they just don't look like a good football team right now. So I'm likely to lean Detroit in every way on this. And then for the over under, what are you thinking?
Ooh, so I'm with you there as far as Detroit. I definitely think Detroit at home, that's just a game that screams, hey, we just got our asses kicked. Let's go back out here and put up some points. So I do like the over 45.5 because I think Detroit is going to try to put up points. The Raiders, their defense has been decent, like nothing just absolute bottom of the barrel trash can, but there's nothing about the offense that excites you. I think this is going to be a big game for Aiden Hutchinson. It just screams it Monday night at home. All the cameras stars on you and your family in the stands because that's what's going to happen.
Every week.
And so the minus 8.5, I like that for the Lions as well. There's a lot of big spreads this week, and that just, and they're all kind of 8.5, 7.5, like kind of these sketchy spreads here. But I mean, Brian Hoyer or Jimmy Garoppolo versus that Lions defense, like I just don't see him putting up points. Devontae Adams is seeming more and more frustrated every week, and I'd honestly, this is a good game to watch Devontae Adams because if he's limited in any way or just a healthy scratch, that leads all signs to believe that he's a possible trade target at the deadline.
Even though they said that they weren't going to, that was all just to try to
You're
get
not
him
going
to
to
shut
keep an
up.
unhappy receiver. Like,
No,
y'all are
for no
losing.
reason.
You're clearly not winning this year.
Or
He's an
next year
elite
or the
wide
year
receiver.
after. Like it's not like you have a quarterback.
The one reason he came here, you traded away.
Yep. Not even worse. They cut him basically. They stopped playing him for the last 2 weeks. He was a healthy scratch. And then they were just like, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
go to New Orleans.
Yeah. See you bye. So yeah, I mean, I like the Lions minus 8.5. I think a good just off the top end of the day parlay for you going into Monday night is if you take the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Lions money line, you're looking at plus 137. Now, you're picking 4 teams to get a little over even money, but those are 4 teams that should absolutely win their matches. And, bet 50 on it, and you can turn that 50 into $68.
And you didn't even say the Dolphins.
No, I didn't say the Dolphins. Ha,
There you go.
I'm not biased. But
There
also,
you
I was
go.
watching the late games there as well. So throw the Dolphins in there for a little extra kicker.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things down below. See you again next week. We'll be here on Friday for a live show, giving a little bit of live fantasy advice, betting advice. You guys can comment in, and we're going to do a live show on Sunday as well.
For the fans.
For the fans. We do it for you. See you guys then. Peace.